I don't personally believe it is that difficult to make $10,000 a month doing health coaching. And it's not unreasonable to be able to do that. It's not unreasonable to make $5,000 a month and $60,000 a year of freedom on your own terms. That's not to say you should do some shady shit and do things that aren't good for you, but health coaching is a very lucrative opportunity if you do it right.
If you're not interested in it, it's probably not going to be a great career path for most people because it is going to require a little bit of learning and a lot of bit of execution, effort, practice, and refinement. And so just to really, allay a lot of that, what we're going to talk about today are probably the things that make a great health coach and people should probably think about acquiring as they're going through what is potentially going to be next and how can I earn some side income or potentially even replace your full-time income, which we have seen a lot of the more successful coaches do.
So health coaching is clearly not for everybody. And it's clearly for certain people. So I think today's episode here on Beyond the Pump, we're actually going to break down why health coaching might not be for you. More specifically, probably why it is for you. Just some of the things to watch out for, what to think about, and as you're making some transitions. So,
yeah. I mean, there's so many different things, and when people are looking at, especially the next 10 years with artificial intelligence coming on, people are probably starting to examine those side hustles. And even the CEO, I think is a co-founder of LinkedIn, said that the traditional 9-to-5 job will be dead by 2030. So this is probably a really good opportune time for people to start exploring some of those potential side hustles. Now, I will say that, and just to put this out of the way, that if you're not interested in it, it's probably not going to be a great career path for most people. Because it is going to require a little bit of learning and a lot of bit of execution, effort, practice, and refinement. And so just to really, allay a lot of that, what we're going to talk about today are probably the things that make a great health coach and people should probably think about acquiring as they're going through what is potentially going to be next and how can I earn some side income or potentially even replace your full-time income, which we have seen a lot of the more successful coaches do. So, all that to say, I mean, Steve.
So, well, you bring up a good point, right? You need to appreciate the idea of health, fitness, nutrition, all of those things. Mm-hmm. That is a requirement to an extent to be in the health coaching industry, no matter what. I don't think you have to be the front page cover of Men's Health magazine per se. Mm-hmm. But I also think you should probably have had your own journey to an extent. Mm-hmm. You want to acquire some knowledge around it and support from there. Do you need 70 some odd certifications? All those components? Of course not. Mm-hmm. But you need to be able to be relatable to an extent and understand a process or an experience. If you've never done the thing before, I question, should you be doing the thing now for other people? Mm-hmm. So just on that point. The other thing is, health coaching, I think, really comes down to being able to create a relationship with people. Mm-hmm. I'll use the word connection, even though I don't overly love it. It's overused by certain people. But that all said, you need to be able to create connection. Mm-hmm. Right now, you and I, we have a client who I would say is over the first couple of weeks, just challenging in a way to be able to get them to start to see certain opportunities within their business as we've been working with them. Mm-hmm. And we had a call this morning and the call went really, really well. I got off the call and I was like, man, I'm going to make her love me. Right. And you said you do love a good challenge like that. But the reality is it just comes down to being able to create that relationship, have that connection. So that way the person will actually listen and be willing to kind of implement the change, do the work, understand it, buy into what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And if you hate communicating with people, that's going to be a big challenge for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And, to kind of revisit the first thing that you said there of people having their own journey, I think it's really important that when people are exploring different potential side hustles, it has to be something that's meaningful and you're connected to, which having your own journey, having your own successes and experiences and setbacks, and really just taking the time to navigate that process yourself really creates a good firm foundation on which everything else goes on top of, because inherently people are attracted to a strong sense of conviction. And we know that people that are the most confident, people that are the loudest, are usually the people that have the most success because they have more opportunities. So then how do we even start to go down that process? And I think it's one thing to conceptually understand and read the book take the online physical, the personal training course and go down that route. However, I think it's a very different thing when people have that visceral and they say like, hey, this is exactly my experience of that. This is what it was like for me. I can help you navigate this process from the process that I've already gone down, which then really goes into the understanding that people, when they start coaching, are going to be their best client, or at least the person that was interested in going down that route initially. And then kind of moving into the skill side of the house, it's like, well, if you do elect that you want to be a health coach, we'll talk about this in a future episode, but there are definitely skills that you need to master, and communication is for sure the foundation of one of those absolutely quintessential elements for people to then scaffold and stack everything else on top of. Because if you can't communicate and your job is to influence outcomes and behaviors, like how are you supposed to convince someone that they need to make those changes? And I think that those are things that are really important for people to consider when they're trying to figure out, do I want to have health coaching as a side hustle? Well, do you like interfacing with people? And if you don't, you're just going to introduce other barriers. You might want to maybe do a little more of the tech stuff, right? Maybe some spreadsheet coaching, which is usually not the best. But when you're considering whether health coaching is for you or not, I definitely would invite you to think, what are your innate skills? What are the things that come naturally to you? And how well do you people? And I think that the interpersonal skills are probably some of the more important ones initially, because they'll create enough buy-in relationship to have that person start to take some of those bigger steps they need to actually achieve their goals. But I mean, what are your perspectives on the hard skills versus the soft skills that people probably should come to the table already having versus the ones that they could build?
Yeah, and before I answer that, it's this whole thing, because I feel like so far for the first, 4 to 7 minutes, we've been potentially perceived as negative or neutral on the health coaching thing. I don't personally believe it is that difficult to make $10,000 a month doing health coaching. And it's not unreasonable to be able to do that. It's not unreasonable to make $5,000 a month and $60,000 a year of freedom on your own terms. Now, that's not to say you should do some shady shit and do things that aren't good for you, but health coaching is a very lucrative opportunity if you do it right. So
Agreed.
That all said, though, the hard skills, the soft skills, there's a balance. There's probably not a perfect mix. I will say the people that tend to be, call it the best peopling person, the most ability to go there, to be outgoing, maybe look the best part, probably have the easiest time acquiring clients and getting new people into their business. But I'd also challenge that they probably have less than stellar fulfillment on the back end, results, things there. They're relying heavily on their looks and whatnot, which, listen, use your skills.
Yeah.
The people that maybe look less the part and whatnot, and I'm not saying you didn't go through a journey. We know somebody very well that's lost hundreds of pounds, and you wouldn't innately go, oh, wow, that person's, spitting image and of a health coach and all the things. But when you listen to this person, you're like, wow, great story, great journey, completely has the ability to go out and help a lot of people. Yeah. Fulfillment in that business, really good. Ability to acquire, not so good. So understanding your strengths, your weaknesses, your soft skills, your hard skills, the things you can change, the things you can't change, is an important factor. And I think leading off, what is your ability to truly connect with people? And if you have a good ability, that's probably going to be a checkbox in the acquisition side of your business.
Yeah, 100%. And at the end of the day, it's how many at-bats do you get to actually do the thing that you're trying to get off the ground. And if you can't demonstrate the ability to complete and help someone achieve an outcome, inherently you're going to be less valuable inside of that job, skill, trade, or service. And so, when we suggest like hard skills, soft skills, and the balance of those things and what you come already pre-equipped with versus what you need to then work on, that's kind of where we're talking about the passive least, resistance, and looking at the things that are going to be obstacles. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you got to pick your obstacles. You're going to have some kind of problem to solve. Do you want to solve problems that have you, if you're a naturally introverted person, maybe going into being extroverted, behavior set might be very challenging for some of those people. And now for this person that normally just sits at home, maybe they worked from home for a couple of years, and for them to go out into the world and try to interface with people, or for them to put themselves out on social media, frankly, I think that that's going to be a pretty hard adoption curve, which is why we do see a fair amount of people that try to transition into personal training, nutrition coaching, or the combination of the two, which is what we then would consider health coaching. those people that just don't have that outgoing skill set are going to struggle in social media. They're going to struggle to connect with people, and thus they're going to have less opportunities inherently because they're not going to talk to as many. They're not going to be as convicted or as compelling when they're putting out these offers because they just feel weird about it. And exactly what you said, the people that are on the opposite end, which they have a different set of obstacles because they struggle to keep people, in my experience. And if they do, then like, what's their skill set? They need the education component, but as long as they have enough people coming in, they kind of look beyond that, which is where they struggle to grow beyond, like the 2 to 3 year mark in my experience. But
yeah,
I mean, what other obstacles do you think that people need to consider when they're trying to figure out, is health coaching for me, or can I potentially survive in this industry, or can I, what does it take to thrive potentially?
Understanding your story, your history, and your knowledge around it. Obviously, those things need to be a part of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Your ability to go out and create a relationship with people, whether it be in person or online, is going to be a thing. And then from there, what's your ability to call it problem solve throughout your business, or the other kind of way, the experience that your client is getting through your business or your service. It's easy to have 5 clients and work on a spreadsheet and a Gmail account and send some information. It gets harder at 10 and it becomes impossible at 20 to 30 to do that. So what do? You're either going to find a way yourself to build the system maybe, or you're going to spend money to get a system installed. Obviously, one is time, the other is money. So
that's a good point.
Are you capable of doing that? Problem solving would be the next thing. And I think that's two-sided too, like not only from the business service delivery standpoint, but also, oh, I've been doing this thing for a month and I didn't lose any weight. What's going on? Well, can you problem solve that? Or whatever goals your people might be trying to achieve.
Well, I think that's really great that you bring up the problem solving thing, which we know that problem solving is based upon resource allocation. And your ability to solve increasingly challenging problems is usually going to be at speed or at scale, meaning how quickly you can do it and how much of it you can do is largely going to be based upon how much resource you have. If it's just you and that's all you can afford and you're bootstrapping because you can't hire an assistant and you're working a 9 to 5, you're going to have less resources to allocate towards solving those problems. Now, we know that just like shipping something overnight across the country, I tried to send some Christmas cards 5 days before Christmas, and they're like, yeah, we can get it there by Christmas, and it's going to cost you $20 for each envelope. I'm like, that's crazy, but because the need to get it quickly across somewhere, it cost me substantially more. And so this is where I think it's a really great idea for people to understand based upon your resources. And this is a sales tactic, but at the same time, it's just the reality of the situation of if you can pay for support and you can have it done for you, that's going to be the most expensive option for someone to onboard and quickly ramp as a health coach with a system, with a mentor, with, kind of the really hand-holding guidance. And on the other end, you do it yourself, which is actually the riskiest thing. And when people consider purchasing a mentor or purchasing a coach, there's always the risk of well, I don't know if they can do what they're telling me that they can do. But the opposite end of that is going out, looking at ChatGPT, which I would encourage people to start to use as a framework, but reading the books and trial and error. And just because it worked for someone else, you're in a completely different contextual situation. Your food's different, your sleep's different, your stress, your job, your relationships, all that stuff then becomes the thing that changes what you should probably do. And if you're left to figure that out, you have no background in health or physiology, you have no background in psychology or how to maintain a positive execution environment, frankly, you're probably not going to stick with it because you just don't have the structure to help you stand that up. And now obviously in the middle is done with you. And that's probably usually what I would suggest most people do, which is just get some guidance, maybe go through a certification, get a business mentor.
It's funny. I would kind of disagree to an extent.
Oh, I love that.
To an extent.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think the decision matrix I'll offer you on there is if you have a high level of confidence that you can execute the thing, then DIY or DWY would be that level because you already know how to do it. Just get somebody to help you speed it up because you don't have to investigate and learn. If you don't have a high level of confidence that you can go do the thing, hey, I need you to build an AI agent to go and solve this problem and this thing in a CRM and all that stuff. Well, I've never done that before. Then you should almost, provided you can afford it, but find a way to afford it, get the DFY thing done, because
Sure.
the time to learn, then the time to build is going to be so elongated
Sure.
that if somebody can get it done for you within maybe a click of a button
Yeah.
or a week or so, or a few days,
Yeah.
that time savings is going to be so drastic, especially down the road. Assuming, big asterisks, like make sure they've done the thing before.
Oh,
If they've never done it, I'm
Yes.
making that assumption here. But if it's somebody like, I can help you build an 8-figure a year business, and it's like, well, can I see if you've ever ran an 8-figure a year business? Be like, yes, I have. Be like, let me see your P&L. And be like, oh, you actually didn't. So that's when
Yes.
you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, and I wholeheartedly agree. Like, in if you have all the access to resources, and that's not an issue, definitely like get it done, work through it, iterate it, revisit it, and like the faster you can do that. And so when we're considering like, you know, for people that might be a little leery, I don't know if this is for me. You know, I'm like, just make a small investment, or just like start to figure out by giving people some advice. Where do I even start? Because there are so many different things, and pay attention to the things that are most curious about where your attention goes. Like if you're like, well, I really like the nutrition part, but I don't like the fitness part, or I really like the program design part, but I don't like the coaching people part, or like delivering that, or having to convince people, which I knew a guy that he left an $80,000 personal training job to go and become a nurse, where he was going to start making $60,000. It was a 2-year accelerated BSN program, and it about killed him, and then he made less money. And the reason why he did that was because he thought that being in the healthcare field, he would have to be he would inherently have more convincing capacity to get people to adopt the changes that he was struggling to get people to adopt as a personal trainer, which frankly, like we know that healthcare people struggle to keep their patients healthy because they just want the pill. That's why they're in the medical system. And like, you know, so point being is that learning how to do those things, the soft skills, kind of reverting back to that, you won't know that that's a deficiency or a gap for you to work on, or a skill you need to develop, until you've tried it and you're like, ooh, that didn't feel great. And so, you know, I think at the end of the day, when we kind of start to, you know, tie the ends up here, I think just making sure that you're getting busy, and then figuring out where your frustration points are, and then letting your development process follow those frustration points, on the assumption that you love being a health coach, and you love personal training, you love fitness, you love nutrition, you love helping people improve the quality of their lives. Those are the people that I think would make strong health coaches. And if they've had a personal journey, like, and they're willing to stick with it long enough, I think that that's going to be a really great spot for them to have a successful side hustle and potentially full-time career. But I mean, you know, wrapping it up, Steve, like, what about you? Is there anything that, you know, for people that are on the fence, should I do this? Should I not? Like, how would you suggest that they explore that?
If you are Google in your house, if you're the person who solves all the problems in your house, somebody says, hey, solve my problem, and you go solve the problem, you have all the things you just mentioned, you can go make $80,000, $100,000, $120,000 a year, I believe, truly within a year, if you put the time, the effort, the energy, the focus, all the components in and learn.
Yeah.
If somebody else in your household is the Google, then I wouldn't do it, because running your own business as an entrepreneur, even if you go buy a mentorship and everything like that, it's still going to require you to solve problems. And out of the gates, like, no matter what, you're going to have to solve some things. But once business is going, the only thing you do repeatedly is solve problems.
Yeah.
And you need to have the mental resource and ability to go in and dive in and diagnose the issue, and then solve the issue, and just do that on repeat.
Find the problem, solve the problem, find the problem, solve the problem, 100%. And I guess, you know, I recently finished a book called Wanting by Luke Burgess, and phenomenal resource. And he asks a really great question in there that helps people start to identify the things that they've done and the memories that they've had, core memories wise, to start to find the through line. Like, what do all of them share in common? And it was, what are the most fulfilling moments that you can remember doing? And they're not things that like happen to you, like you went to a Lynyrd Skynyrd concert, like that's not necessarily something, but what's something fulfilling that you've actually built? And, you know, thinking about, like, for me, my, you know, Marine Corps graduation courses, like those were really big deals for me. Going through some of the other items, like those were all fulfilling for me. And so when I look through that, there's a through line of being top of class that is something that I derive true fulfillment, satisfaction from a personal level, and that it's just a core memory. So as people are considering that, like, that would be a question that I invite them to consider. And it doesn't matter whatever you land on, but like, look at all the most powerful memories that you felt fulfilled in. identify what's in common and go read that book, Wanting. And it's like 3/4 of the way through, you'll find that question, how to go about that. But that'd be what I would suggest for most people. Anything closing out for you?
No, that's really it.
Okay, you want to close this out?
Nothing more. You go for it.
All right. Dear Heavenly Father, bow your head. Oh. Thank you so much for this bounty. No, so, like I said, there's so much to discuss, and health coaching is definitely going to be the next iteration of what it means to be helpful and to get people to adopt these serious, significant life changes that they need to live the life that they at the end of the day really feel free. They're able to go do the things that they want to do. And so if you haven't already, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. And if you ever need help with anything, please just reach out, because you're only stuck if you don't ask for help. So thanks for joining us here on Beyond the Pump, where we talk about
the business of fitness and nutrition.
See you guys in the next one.